Hello, I am the real-life fake wizard. I keep having to say in all of my videos and streams that I don't like talking about politics, and I really don't. I have a strong belief that politicians are all corrupt, bought, and paid for by corporate interests. But we keep finding ourselves in positions like this because political events cross the threshold into entertainment business. And that is something we do cover. On September 29th, 2025, President Donald Trump announced a proposal for a 100% tariff on foreign-made films, aiming to protect and revive the American film industry by making imported films twice as expensive to distribute in the United States. There are a lot of angles to this story, and the ramifications in the broader marketplace are huge. Let's talk about it. Okay, so before we get started, let's define what a tariff is, because YouTubers and shill journalists alike like to throw the term around and say it's terrible without actually quantifying what it is and the implications. Tariffs are taxes imposed on imported goods. Typically, when a good is delivered to an American address coming from an international address, the American government charges a tariff on the item at that point. Sometimes there are other factors, and in this case, it's another factor. But for the most part, that's how it goes. In our case here, with foreign-made films, a 100% tariff would effectively double the cost of bringing movies produced outside the US into the American market. It's similar to how tariffs are being used on physical products like cars or steel to encourage domestic production. Trump claims foreign countries use tax incentives and subsidies to steal Hollywood jobs and productions. So this tariff is part of his broader America First move to bring filmmaking back to the US, to create jobs and to boost local economies in places like Los Angeles. So Trump's angle here is to encourage American production companies to make their movies here again. That's pretty simple to understand, and it's something that we can all kind of get behind, right? However, the outcomes here are anything but simple. Remember how I described tariffs on physical goods before? This would be one of those very, very different situations. These particular tariffs would likely apply to digital content through taxes on licensing fees, distribution rights, or streaming revenues for films primarily made abroad, though exact enforcement details are very unclear and would require new regulations or laws. Again, this is a proposal. We do not know how this is all going to go down, only that it's probably going to go down. Okay, so Trump said the other countries are stealing American Hollywood jobs. That's not necessarily wrong. The first example of this that comes to my mind is Star Wars: The Acolyte, which very publicly and very proudly filmed a lot of its content in the United Kingdom, where Lucasfilm was granted a nearly $44 million tax break by the UK government. That show still cost $250 million for the streaming network, and no one watched it. But I did. And then I made this channel because of it. Okay, but really, it's not unreasonable for all the major Hollywood production companies to not produce things in the United States, right? The reason for that are usually taxes and cost of labor. We actually learned this directly from a direct source earlier this year via the Rob Lowe podcast.
Something to do with like, why do I shoot my game show, the American game show, The Floor in Ireland?
Yeah.
It's like,
do you really?
I do.
That's interesting that you shoot The Floor there.
It's cheaper to bring 100 American people to Ireland than to walk across the lot at Fox.
Right.
Past the sound stages and do it there.
Crazy. Do you think if we shot Parks right now, we would be in Budapest?
100% we would be. We'd be in Budapest. We would be...
It's so weird. There's nothing shoots in Los Angeles.
Nothing.
Too expensive to shoot here.
There are no tax credits. So like all those other places are offering 40%.
Yeah.
40%.
Oh, yeah.
And then on top of that, there's other stuff that they do.
Yeah.
And then and that's not even talking about the union stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That's just tax economics of it all. So it's criminal what the California and LA have let happen. It's criminal. Everybody should be fired.
So it's cheaper to bring 100 people to Ireland than to walk across the lot at the Fox sound stages, huh? That's huge. That's pretty big news. That means the cost of production in the United States makes the entire Hollywood business model unsustainable and clearly bloated. Now, there's a lot of reasons for this. The unions and the cost of labor in the third most expensive state to live in, that's a huge factor. The taxes imposed on production companies are insane. And so, yeah, the production companies, even though they're located in California, and all the actors are in California, and everyone there pretends like the state is just amazing at all things always, well, the businesses are doing everything they can to relocate to outside of California. How is this impacted by the tariffs? Well, it means all the business needs to come back to the States, lest they be taxed at the distribution and licensing level. Lucasfilm cannot make Acolyte Season 2 in the UK. Actually, they're not making Acolyte Season 2 at all, because no one watched the first one. Except for, I guess, me. And a couple of other shills. But when we look at some things like Fantastic Four from earlier this year, this was a summer blockbuster film that was predominantly filmed in the United Kingdom. This film would have imposed taxes, and it's only nearly cleared $525 million without said taxes. The upcoming Avengers Doomsday is already slated to be the most expensive movie ever made, with reports estimating it will be a $1 billion budget. And this film was also filmed in the UK, meaning it can and likely will incur tariff fees when it's released in 2026. But you know what else gets hit with tariff fees like this? International movies that are made for international markets. I mean anime movies. I mean Bollywood movies. I mean subtitled Japanese movies about radioactive monsters that explode cities. Yes, all of these are foreign-made films. And what makes this even more relevant is that these foreign-made movies are rivaling $400 million production budget superhero films in gross box office returns. So what happens next? And what comes after this? No one knows yet. These tariff prices could end up being passed through to the price of admission at theaters, though I don't think that's likely. Theaters are already suffering enough, which brings up another point, actually, of how will this impact theaters? Probably not positively. Personally, I may just be a fake wizard. I don't actually have a crystal ball that shows me the future, but I would say, I hope this goes through. I hope this happens. I hope there is a squeeze on Hollywood that stresses the industry out. I'm not interested in showing mercy to Disney or Warner Brothers or Paramount or any of the other Hollywood production companies. I want them to sweat. I want them to feel the pinch. And you know why? Not because I want retribution, not because I'm angry about them destroying Star Wars and everything else, even though I am. I want them to feel a little bit of pain here, because it means they will be forced to course correct. The tariffs have pros and the tariffs have cons. I've covered this in other videos quite a bit. But what I see here, should Trump's tariffs be applied in the way they've been pitched, Hollywood is going to have to change how it operates. They're going to need to cut the bloat in the industry. They're going to need to bust their asses making better product. And they're going to need to start listening to their customers again. That's easier said than done. But if they have to start paying American state taxes again, the priority is going to be on making the best product so that they can guarantee the best return on investment. Now, I know that's a lot of hopeful speculation. I don't necessarily care to see Godzilla get hurt in the process, but we're going to see how it all plays out together. I don't want any kind of foreign-made film or any kind of anime film to get hurt in the process here. But it's time to see Disney feel the pinch, just like we all have. But until next time, create, innovate, inspire, and for the love of God, cancel Disney Plus. And if you haven't subscribed yet, hit the subscribe button. And if you haven't had lunch yet, it is probably lunchtime. And if it's past lunchtime, perhaps it's bedtime, go to bed. And if you left YouTube playing through the night while you slept, it is 4 a.m. You get up. It is time for you to go to work. Okay, goodbye.